it's the first week of February. It's gonna snow.
Yeah.
at least here it is. And maybe
Yeah.
I know that this is a record snowstorm for North Carolina in like 20 years. But ultimately, this is kind of my argument as to this needs to be in Daytona.
Following is a production of
The garage area.
Welcome into the garage area. This is our first recap show of the year, our Clash of Bowman Gray recap. I'm excited to be back. I'm sure Ryan is as well. He's always this look of excitement on his face. Big Chase Elliott fan this weekend. Where'd Chase end up finishing?
I think 16th.
So a great race.
Yeah.
Last year's winner ended up 16th. It was a very interesting race. We're going to get into it here in just a second. They had a last chance qualifier at 4:30 on Fox to start the evening's events. We really should just back up and tell the whole picture for those that don't know. If you're watching this podcast, you probably already understand what took place. The Clash was supposed to happen Saturday night.
Sunday night was the actual Clash. Saturday was supposed to be heats.
Okay,
Yeah.
So there was on-track action Saturday night, but the actual Clash was supposed to happen Sunday night. And due to inclement weather, they postponed it to Monday. And then due to inclement weather, they postponed it to Wednesday. So there was issues right off the bat from that. Unfortunate situation for NASCAR as a whole. And then, so it all comes together being they're going to race Wednesday night. 4:30 is going to be the last chance qualifier. And then 6:30 is going to be the main event. Guys were involved in snow removal. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Todd Gilliland. They had all the snow kind of packed up behind the wall. Didn't seem like the smartest of moves, but I don't know what you're supposed to do with it.
Yeah.
Like how you're going to get it out of the seats and get it out of the racetrack without moving it 100 different times. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily blame him for that. It didn't become a huge issue kind of towards the end, right, of the first half of the race. There was a little bit of issue with the snow melting onto the racetrack, which brought out a caution that they had to dry the track for. But overall, I don't think that certainly played a huge factor. We got a lot of precipitation at halfway that you would probably never know the difference anyways at that point. And I did listen to the teardown where Jeff Gluck said, as they were recording the post-race podcast there, that it was literally snowing while they were doing that. So they couldn't win on a weather side no matter what. So I'm 100% okay with just writing this one off and saying, in my opinion, this wasn't a great race. This wasn't a great event. There were no, as they say, redeeming qualities to this one at all. But I can't put too much blame on NASCAR for it. I can put some. We'll get to that. The first thing right off the bat in the last chance qualifier, it was Michael McDowell. And Josh Berry started on the pole of that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and Michael McDowell ends up beating him back to the line. And NASCAR calls that a penalty. Which it is, unless the leader spins his tires, correct?
On the initial start of the race, the leader still has to hit the start-finish line first.
Wow.
On a restart, spinning the tires, the second-place driver can beat the leader to the line.
Okay.
At least that's the rules I've known it.
As you've known it.
Yeah.
And you're no Bob Pockris.
Yeah, no.
Did Bob tweet about this?
If he did, I didn't see it.
Okay. See, that's really the final ruling authority here is whether or not Bob Pockris tweeted the rule out. Because that's the question, essentially. And if you're right, then everything went correctly.
Yeah.
Because Michael McDowell's explanation was that the 21 spun his tires, and so they shouldn't have been penalized. But if the rule is interpreted the way that you're saying, to where it doesn't matter, the leader to start the race has to be the first one to the line, then it doesn't matter if he spun his tires or not.
That's how I always do the rule on an initial start. I felt like McDowell was ahead of him all the way through 3 and 4 pretty much, and the restart zone's not even until the front stretch. So McDowell was ahead of him the whole time either way. So I don't feel like he held an even line anyways. I feel like he was ahead of the start even before they even hit the gas pedal.
Did you hear his interview from either Bob or Matt Weaver or one of those two?
McDowell's?
Yeah.
I did not see McDowell's.
Okay. Because we weren't able to see the last 36 laps of the race, which we can also get into that in a little bit. I was spending a lot of time on Twitter and watching the videos that those guys posted with interviews from drivers, and McDowell was saying that, like I just said, that the 21 spun his tires, and therefore it should have been fine for him to beat him to the lead. But he said that he talked to NASCAR, that they don't really listen to him. But if that's not the rule, then I don't know why they would. So I'm not. As I sit here right now, Michael McDowell's an idiot.
Yeah.
And so I could be cleared up on that. If somebody can actually bring the rule to my attention and say, hey, no, it was okay for him to beat him to the line, then I may redact that statement. But as it stands right now, retract that statement. I don't want to redact it. I'm not trying to hide anything. But as it stands right now, Michael McDowell's an idiot, and I'll just move on with that.
Yeah, I mean the whole time I think Kevin Harvick was like, well, "Why hasn't NASCAR done anything?"
Yeah,
You know,
he said
he
it right
was
off the
pretty
bat.
adamant that yeah McDowell was in the wrong. I thought for sure. I'm like, well, you're not supposed to do that on the initial start. So to me, McDowell broke the rule, no matter whether you say he spun the tire or not.
Um, Maybe you didn't catch it. Did I don't want to spend a lot of time hating on NASCAR on Fox because I'm trying to, as a whole, be more positive about the sport. I think through this offseason, we've moved in a positive direction as a sport. You've got, the lawsuit thing got handled. The charters are going to be redrawn. The point system got changed. A lot of things that we were looking for, we got more horsepower, however that looks. There's still battles to fight, certainly, but a lot of the things that we complained about last year, they are addressing. They're moving in the right direction. You announced to me on our last show that the Roval was going away. We're moving in the right direction. So, because of that, I don't want to spend a lot of time complaining about any part of NASCAR, including the broadcast. But Mike Joy, when they came on the air, Mike Joy's a legend. Like, he is one of the best motor racing broadcasters that we've ever seen. I put him up there with Alan Bestwick. I really liked Wally Dallenbach too, but of those guys, that is their thing, is to hold down the broadcast commentary. Bill Weber, guys like that. Mike Joy's an absolute legend of that. But I swear that he said that there was a 25 lap race when they came on the air for the last chance qualifier rather than a 75 lapper. I could be wrong, but that did catch me off guard immediately. I didn't think that. I felt like, okay, well, we're starting out strong with that. But like you said about Harvick, he was very much adamant that that McDowell jumped the start, and I feel like Kevin Harvick is one of the more intelligent ones of people that on the NASCAR and Fox side. I don't know how you feel about Clint Boyer. I love him as a person. Don't love listening to him on TV.
Yeah, I when they announced when Clint Boyer was going to be on the broadcast, I thought, oh, this would be some lightheartedness, and like you think back to Darrell Waltrip, he
Yeah.
always had that goofy guy on there and stuff, and I don't know, it just hasn't panned out how I thought it might with him in there. I don't hate the guy or nothing,
No,
just
it's
kind of the dynamic between the guys. I just feel like he doesn't quite fit in. Sometimes he talks over people and he shouldn't, and things like that.
I feel like he's trying to prove that he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Almost. And it's like, Clint, you drove in the sport for how long? Like, I understand,
Yeah.
just be the goofy guy. That's what we love you for. Anyways, AJ Allmendinger was in contention for that second transfer spot. Barry won the race, going away. Once he got out front, there was no catching him. And the second, third, and fourth place guys spent a lot of time battling. That was Corey LaJoie, Austin Cindric, who ended up transferring, and AJ Allmendinger. I thought AJ actually ran a pretty smart race for probably not having one of the faster of those three cars, and took advantage of every opportunity. He to me, in that race, showed his intelligence more than anything. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Colleague obviously doesn't have the faster group of cars out there and stuff, and obviously he had that fast short run. I think he maxed out what his car could do. He got out, got a lead, then it took time for Barry to get by him. Maybe not too long. He was smart enough to let him go, to not give up time quickly to the second or the third and fourth place guys. But in the end, they still got by him. And he was even smart enough to try and get the 2-for-1 there at the
Yeah.
end. He had it planned out, but in the end, it didn't work out.
I got a lot of respect for AJ. I didn't used to. Probably 10 years ago, I would have been like, AJ is one of the dumbest people in the field. But no, I've developed a whole lot of respect for him, and I think he's a very good race car driver. Got a lot of racecraft. For somebody that gets a lot of credit for the road course stuff, I think he just, as a whole, as a race car driver, got a lot of respect for him, but just based on what I see him do on the racetrack. So I hope we get to see him actually get in a little bit faster car here at some point. And if that's in colleagues' cars, great. I hope that they're able to improve him to that point. As we said, Barry wins. Austin Cindric transfers with him. Kind of a shame that those guys in Penske style cars were in the last chance qualifier, but that is what it is. Your second favorite driver, Alex Bowman, ended up having to take a provisional to even get in the race, and I think he finished near the back of the actual clash, didn't he? He ran in the back. I don't know where he ended up finishing. I didn't pull up the finishing order, but yeah, I see you're scrolling a long ways down there to find him.
Must have missed him because I don't see him.
That's usually the case.
Yeah, he finished 10th.
Okay.
I think a lot of those guys who were in the early practice and qualifying sessions had the disadvantage, in the later group of qualifying sessions are the ones that qualified up front. Even like the last session or whatever was like the back half of the top 5, and the last session got like the top 5 spots.
Well,
and Bowman was in one of those earlier ones, and even the Cindric and Barry were in those earlier qualifying. So I think, but I mean that goes back to your last year's points. So
yeah,
I mean,
and the 48 team as a whole had a disadvantage because they have Alex Bowman as their driver. But we'll get into that as the season goes along, I'm sure. Is Corey LaJoie washed? Like, I mean, maybe he was never wet, but is he? Like, we're done with him, right?
hopefully.
I don't dislike Corey LaJoie, but every time he gets an opportunity to be up front in a race car, it's like, what are you doing here? You look like an idiot. And every time I see him race, I just feel like the guy has no idea what he's doing. And I say that kind of hesitantly just because I feel like he probably deserved an opportunity he never got. But anytime he's gotten opportunities, he's never been able to make the most of them. And not that he's had great ones. Did he run the 9 at Gateway?
Yeah.
And finished worse than Barry did in the Spire cars?
Um,
I can't remember how that all worked.
that was Hocevar.
Hocevar, okay.
Yeah, Hocevar was running better than the 9 with LaJoie until Hocevar's brake blew out.
Okay.
So I mean, the 9 finished ahead in the end, but
Right.
it was
A very
pretty much what
disappointing
Hocevar
day.
that's where Hocevar got his chance and pretty much
Yeah.
sealed LaJoie's fate.
Do you feel like time had just passed Corey by, or do you think that it was like, hey, there was never anything there anyway?
I know we were all rooting for him at one time. I thought, yeah, he's in underfunded cars and stuff and running well. And I don't know if maybe the time he got into better cars got to him and he just pushed too hard. Everybody was mad at Chase Elliott when they put at Atlanta when Chase won that and put him up in the wall. And I don't know if it like disheartened LaJoie because I feel like that was like the ending point. Ever since then, it's been downhill.
Yeah, could very well be. If he gets another good opportunity and can prove me wrong, that's great. And maybe he will. He's going to race the 99 for RFK at Daytona, so we'll see what he can end up doing there. I had a lot of notes of people that ran into each other throughout the race, but then it just got to be too much. But this is as we get to the main event. So I'm just going to skip a bunch of that. I will say that the first legitimate caution for incident of the year was caused by Joey Logano. I'll just raise my hand and say that he did that. We'll get this out of the way right up front. Bald Joey Logano, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a look that I did not. Dude looks like he did time.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like he just got out of jail. I think NASCAR Sarcasm tweeted a picture of him. He had the beanie on, and he's got that little bit of a beard going, and he had his glasses on. It said the dude behind every vape shop counter in America right now. And it couldn't be a more fitting picture. Still love him. Still think he's one of the most talented drivers in the field. But yes, he did cause the first caution for incident. Hamlin and Larson beat on each other. Bubba Wallace and Daniel Suarez. Boy, those guys roughed each other up a little bit. But Suarez said afterwards that what their issue was, and they spent a lot of time, ramming their cars into each other, and he said that was a misunderstanding, that like he didn't have an issue with Bubba. That he ran into him, but it wasn't he wasn't upset with him.
Yeah.
Is what Suarez said. I doubt Bubba feels the same way. Bubba is probably upset with him, if I had to guess. But they ended up running into each other all night long.
Yeah, I think Suarez was more upset with SVG in that race than anything, which is kind of interesting.
You didn't see the interview at all with Suarez?
No.
Okay, so I think Bob Hawkers actually asked him. He said, "You seem to have raced your Trackhouse teammates harder than maybe anybody else." And he said, "I race people the way that they race me." He said, "Bob, I'm not racist. I love the people that love me, and I hate the people that hate." And so, for whatever reason, he seems to have an issue with SVG and Connor, and probably Ross for the way that they raced him, either in time past or in this particular race. But I'm sure that there's some animosity there.
Yeah.
Whether it's conscious or not even, I think that there's definitely some animosity there. And I do feel for him a little bit. And I think that Spire cars are going to be fast. Like, I don't think that Trackhouse is just going to have a leg up on them all year either. We can probably get into more of that in our preview show, but they definitely seem fast tonight in the Clash race. Everything actually was pretty decent. Nothing super exciting, but it was what you would kind of expect for racing at Bowman Gray as we came to the halfway point. And then when we came to the halfway point, everything changed. There was precipitation that came during the halfway break, and it just was all wonky from there. They had guys on rain tires. The bottom groove wasn't effective because all the rubber was built up there, and that was like driving on ice. A lot of guys were running that second, even that third lane, trying to stay up near the wall. Guys were bouncing off the wall, trying to make speed. Just a real mess, honestly. They had a hard time. They took them 20 minutes or something to go 5 laps because caution laps didn't count. It just was a real struggle once the rain came. It sounds like there was an issue as to whether or not Hocevar was on the wet tires or the dry tires at one point, and officials didn't know whether he was allowed to change, like if they were mandated to be on wet tires, if he was allowed to put dries on if he wanted, because he came into pit at one point. There was a lot of officiating questions around this race that I think that if all of the rumors that I heard around it are true, they got to get that cleaned up, because there seemed to be a big time confusion on what the rules were. But I will say, if there is a rule that says everybody has to be on the wets or everybody has to be on the dries, that rule needs to go away. You should be able to put whatever tire you want on that race car anytime.
Yeah, I mean, I know for a real points paying race, I agree. Now, how they had this race structured, because it's not a real pit road,
right?
And the only time you could pit was under, well, I mean, you could go into the pits under green, but there was also like no counted laps, caution laps didn't count stuff. So I think during this race you have to mandate one or the other, or you can't, in pit road rules. Obviously, we probably come to that talking about the fueling situation and whatnot. So I think in this scenario, you have to make specific rules on how that tire or no tire for just the way the race plays out.
James Small too alluded to the fact that whether or not this is true, that if you ran the LCQ and you transferred, that you had to start the race on the tires that you raced the LCQ on.
That I don't know.
Well, it sounded like I was under that impression, and James Small said that they gave a set to a guy. Now, there's only 2 guys that raced, and the 21 seemed to be faster than the 2. So it sounds like the 21 put new tires on. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, because I know Bowman started the LCQ with his scuffed tires from the practice or qualifying. So that probably means he saved his good set for the main race, and maybe the 21 used new tires for the LCQ, and then must maybe got it. Yeah, because I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Bowman, it would have been fine for him if he was going to end up in the back and he was going to end up putting the new set of tires on at the first caution. Who cares? You know what I mean? But yeah, it seemed like the 21 was moving forward even before that first caution came out. So if the rumor is that he's got new tires, I would be tempted to believe it, because he seemed to be able to make passes.
Yeah, I saw Small's interview, and I didn't really think about that until you mentioned that now. But yeah, maybe the 21 put on a fresh set, and he wasn't supposed to.
Speaking of things James Small was complaining about, there was things I'm going to complain about was not getting to see the last 36 laps of the race. But during that time, guys had just started to run out of fuel, like Kyle Larson, like Chase Elliott, and they threw a caution so that people could fuel up. And why?
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? That makes no sense to me. And James Small's right. Like, if they're not filling the car up, that's their problem, not NASCAR's problem. So why are we intervening in this situation? I agree with that 100%. And there should be no reason, for you to run out of fuel, and there should be no reason to throw a caution for you to put fuel in the race car.
Yeah. I mean, as a Hendrick Motorsports fan, Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson first ran out of fuel. Chase Elliott was the next guy that ran out of fuel. I mean, as much as I wish they had the fuel or whatever, but I mean, that's the bed they laid in. And That's what they got to take. So, I mean, I think supposedly the 660 car was going to be short on fuel too, and I think that's what Small was mainly upset about, was because they knew they were good and the 60 wasn't. So,
yeah. And the 19 was the best car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can all understand that Chase Briscoe was the best car. Well, he was your pick to win.
Yeah.
And didn't end up getting it done, but had a great opportunity to do so. So I understand James Small being upset. He's always upset anyways. I mean, that's just kind of his MO.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Nick Saban type tour. He's just always angry. But yeah, he definitely had a reason to be upset there, in my opinion. Like, why are you throwing a caution to put fuel in these cars? Let's hit two things here real quick. One, you and I both had church on Wednesday night. So when the race started, we weren't able to see a good chunk of it. So we had to record it. As anybody that has something else to do during a race, you're able to record it. You come back to it later and watch it. The area where we got shafted was the fact that they switched over to FS2 with really no warning. And because of that, we didn't get to see the last 36 laps of the race because obviously FS2 wasn't recording. Every once in a while, I'll go and record the show after the race if I think it's going to be long, so that if it runs over into the next time slot, you can go back and watch it. But this was not they went to a whole different channel, and there's been two schools of thought on this that I've heard. One being that this would never happen in an NFL game. Like an NFL game, no matter what you have going on TV, The Masked Singer or the new episode of Fear Factor, you're not moving from that NFL game. Like, it's going to stay on the network until it's done. NASCAR doesn't have that kind of pull, apparently. But it's been moved twice. This is not its original scheduled date. It's been moved twice. You're in a primetime network TV slot. You've already been on that primetime network for 3 hours instead of 2, which was your scheduled window. And now they're going to move you to FS2. Again, just in choosing to try to be a little more positive about some of the things that we deal with this year, I'm not going to get super upset about it. I wanted to watch the last 36 laps. I have no way of doing that until NASCAR posts the full race on YouTube that I'm aware of. But that was very annoying, but I wasn't mad at NASCAR. I wasn't mad at Fox. I wasn't mad at anybody. Like, I get why they made the move, and I'm not going to be upset about that. But it is disappointing that this sport somewhat gets disrespected on the TV side of things, in my opinion. Speaking of the event getting moved a couple times, NASCAR did do a great thing, in my opinion, and I want to highlight things like that when I hear about them. The ticket holders got 120% credit on their tickets. So if they were not able to make the next schedule clash, like if they were supposed to be Sunday night, whether it was Monday or Wednesday, if they weren't able to attend that race. Did you hear about this?
No.
They got 120% value of their tickets to purchase more tickets, or they could get 100% refund. They could either be totally refunded the cost of their tickets, or they'd add 20% discount to another race.
Oh, okay, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and all the fans and people complaining about Bowman Gray being half filled, you can't imagine the only people that maybe really been able to get there are people nearby. You know, the whole country's under a blanket of snow that's not used to that. You know, people maybe going back to work and can't make it and stuff. I mean, you got to be happy with the amount of people that did make it.
Yeah.
That was one thing I see people online complaining about, and I don't think there's anything to complain about in that manner.
No, look, Bowman Gray is a small stadium. It shouldn't have been hard for a professional sport to fill it up.
Yeah.
But it was also snowing.
Yeah.
And people say, well, you go to football games all the time and sit out in the cold, which is all true.
Yeah.
But that's just not the culture around motorsports in the first place. And in the second place, we're from the north. We understand what cold's like. We understand what snow's like to deal with. It's the first week of February. It's gonna snow.
Yeah.
at least here it is. And maybe
Yeah.
I know that this is a record snowstorm for North Carolina in like 20 years. But ultimately, this is kind of my argument as to this needs to be in Daytona, this race. I want to go to Daytona. I want that to be where the race is held. I want the Clash to be part of a whole week of action. And I'm just going to lay it out right now. This is my plan to totally revitalize the Clash and to make it into something that I would appreciate again, because I didn't appreciate this from the beginning. No matter what, I wasn't going to enjoy this as being the Clash. If this was a regular exhibition race, that's fine. But I've always had a thing growing up, whatever, when it was a longer extended speed weeks. Saturday night was the Clash, Sunday afternoon was qualifying, and Thursday was going to be the duels, and then Saturday, Sunday, you're going to have the truck race, Xfinity, ARCA, and then Cup was Daytona 500 on Sunday. If you want to smush that down into 1 week, I want to see them do their media on Monday. I want to see them do the Clash on a Tuesday night, do their qualifying Wednesday, duels Thursday. I don't know what you need to do Friday if there's more track practice or whatever. Saturday, Sunday, you do your races. ARCA, Truck, Cup, Xfinity, all that. O'Reilly, sorry, not Xfinity. I'm just going to pivot to the Kevin Harvick method and go Grand National Series. I like that schedule. And the Clash needs to go back to being pole winners and throw past champions in there. I'm fine with. No, none of this past Clash winners. I don't care about that. Like, if Jimmy Johnson's won it in the past and he wants to get out there in the 84 Toyota, get out of there. Like, you don't need to be in there anymore. Past champions, which he would have qualified for that anyways.
Okay.
I'm not saying. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I think Bill Elliott was in it 1 year because he'd won the Clash, but it was like the tail end of his career, and he was in a no-name car with nobody. Like,
yeah.
And just like, why are you participating in this?
Make it just full-time drivers or something like that.
Yeah, full-time drivers. In however you want to structure it, so it's a more exclusive club. Definitely pole winners. I'm okay with it being also past champions or something else. It can be something more than just pole winners, but that needs to be the focus. I mean, it's was originally what it was designed for. I don't want it to be just 20 laps. I'm okay with it being 50 or 75 laps or whatever it ends up being, 100 laps. But this is where I'm going to make this interesting. I want it to be less than a fuel run, though. So whatever that is, I don't know what the number of lap count is for that. But shrink it down to less than a fuel run. Make the winner get the automatic bid for third place in the starting lineup.
For the Daytona
500. It doesn't pay points, but just like the dual races, you win them. Or sorry, not the dual races. Just like qualifying, first and second in qualifying automatically are going to start first and second in the Daytona 500. I like the fact that they're locked into the front row, and the Clash winner would end up with third place, because that doesn't affect your transfer cars, because the guys that are going to be in this are going to be guys that are already going to be the guys that were winning poles, winning races, competing for the championship last year. So it doesn't affect any of that. And I think that gives them something to race for, especially for how important track position is at these races anymore.
I don't know.
He's balking at the third place start.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, overall, the plate racing with this car hasn't been the greatest.
Sure.
Of course, I feel like they say Atlanta's been better, because I think plate racing in Atlanta has been some of the best plate racing we've seen in the last couple of years. And some say it's because the fields have been half cleared out by the end of the race.
Yeah.
So if they only have half a field at Daytona, maybe there's more you can do. that'd be a neat experiment to see what would happen. Maybe they can clear out 20 cars in the 500 and we can see what will happen. Um, but but I also like the idea of Bowman Gray. I kind of like that little short track deal too. So I hate to lose that. I just hate the location. Maybe that's the only thing.
Well, I don't like that it's so small, and I don't like that there's no pit road at Bowman Gray.
Yeah, that I have to figure out some way to make it more of a actual race pit road rule type thing, and instead of non-competitive stops or something to that effect. That'd be the only thing I don't like about that. But,
I'm okay if you race at Bowman Gray. I just don't want it to be the Clash.
yeah, it'd either be that or the All Star race. That'd be the only thing.
Okay.
A couple things you could do with that. Of course, they have the All Star race at Dover this year, and I don't like that either. So
No, I would rather see it at Bowman Gray than Dover.
yeah, so if we can make that the All Star race, but then you'd have to fit Dover in somewhere because I don't think you can just get rid of Dover as an actual race either. So, but
Hey, you could have Pocono State.
I don't see them getting rid of Pocono, but yeah, it's if I knew the restrictor plate racing was better at Daytona, I'd be on board with your plan. Maybe with the exception of the third place starting for the Daytona 500 for the winner. But
Make them start on the pole at Atlanta then. The winner of the Clash. I
Yeah.
just think that there's got to be some sort of motivation other
Yeah.
than just here's $1 million or whatever it is.
yeah,
Like there's got to be some reason for them to go out there and say, yes, I want to win this race for everybody, for the team, for the driver. There's got to be some motivating factor, and I think an automatic bid for a third place start is a good motivator for the Daytona 500. That's why I want it to be at Daytona, so it's all incorporated into the same weekend, and I think that actually helps you build a promotion for the Daytona 500.
yeah,
I want them to have a reason to race hard for an extended period of time, to not necessarily take a lot of risks and wreck the car, because I don't want to see a wreck fest in the Clash. I just want to see guys pushing real hard, and if they wreck, that's fine. But the whole goal being to win that race, to gain something. I want to see them be highly motivated to go after that win, and I want it to be a part of promoting the Daytona 500. Because I feel like if that's the excuse that NASCAR is using here, that, oh yeah, the Clash is going to promote the Daytona 500, I don't think what we saw last night did anything
yeah,
to do that. And if that's supposed to factor in, which I think it should, I don't think it does.
yeah. I think I'm on board with your point because I do miss the Clash at Daytona, but I just hate how these cars drive there now.
Okay, but like
Yeah.
you're also hedging that it's never going to get better.
Yeah,
Like if you set this structure in place that like, hey guys, this is what we're doing with the Clash. When the plate racing gets better, because I think that it will at some point, somewhere along the line, that we're not going to last in this forever. When it does eventually get better, everything's already right there, and you get to go to the Clash the year that it's better, and just see good plate racing to start the year.
okay.
That's I'm putting my faith in that basket
Yeah.
a little bit.
I guess I'm just still hurt for what NASCAR's done over the last so many years.
This is the best offseason we've ever had in our lifetime, and you just don't like them. I can definitely see you've not adopted my attitude of positive things
Yeah.
this season. I've also got a great idea to fully overhaul the All-Star race too, but I don't think you're ready for that conversation. But I think that there needs to be All-Stars from each manufacturer. So like if it's Ryan Blaney and Josh Berry or somebody from Ford, then I think that Ford needs to pour their resources into two cars and make those guys race. Along with Chevy and along with Toyota and whatever. You can have as many as you want from the manufacturer, but your all-star drivers are put together with all-star crew chiefs and all-star pit crews, not necessarily their
Oh,
crew chiefs.
I think you talked about
I
this
did a
before
little bit, but I've
time,
revamped this a little bit to where
Yeah.
Ford or Toyota or Chevy, whoever, they're bringing their all-star cars. They're putting all-star drivers in them, whoever they select, whoever's highest, however you want to pick that, with the best crew chief, with the best pit crew, and pairing that up to an all-star team.
I see. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't ever see that happening, but
You know, you don't even want to entertain the hypotheticals.
yeah,
This is our world. We can make anything we want happen in it. And I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know.
Obviously not. I'm not running anything there. But yeah, well, we'll probably revisit that a little closer during the actual All-Star race. I didn't look at our sheet here. Did you actually put down where our picks finished?
Um,
Yeah, you did. Okay, so I had Ryan Blaney as my predicted winner at the Clash. He finished third, which actually was somewhat of a miracle based on what took. He was running well and then got knocked way back into the field, and then ended up racing his way back up to third. Chase Briscoe, your pick, the best car in the field, ends up finishing sixth. So I feel like we did pretty well with our prediction there.
I really think Brian Blaney was equal or on par with Briscoe until he got caught up in a couple of incidents. Yeah. That's what hurt Blaney. And then, of course, I think the wet tires and wet weather tire and stuff kind of even things out. And I would say, because I don't know what happened in the final 36 laps because I haven't been able to go back and watch it yet. So I assume after the pit stops or whatever that things got messed up and Briscoe fell back and Blaney got ahead of Briscoe. And I'm assuming that's what happened.
Yeah, it's sort of my understanding.
I'll have to go back and really look at it, but I think we both picked the fastest two guys in the field until circumstances changed everything. So,
yeah, yeah, I agree.
Not to take anything from Briscoe because I think he had a fast car too. Because I think even in the dry he was coming up through the field also.
Yeah.
So those are, I would say, the three best cars.
What do you think you'd put down for a rating of this race?
First half I'd say a 7. Second half like 4. So I don't know. I'm just gonna put it at a 5.
A 5.
Just because the second half just kind of ruined it. Not only the wasn't so much the wet weather racing, it was the once they had like long green flag runs, I thought it was neat how they were running the top and finding the fast line. Eventually that middle line was drying out and they were able to come down and try to make passes, but the way they had to make the passes was pretty much shove the guy up into the wall and hopefully get back in the dry, and I think that just started causing wrecks and of course then the fuel issues and then the restarts and everybody tries to do a slide jobs everyone up into the wall, and it just
I don't like that.
Yeah, it just became a mess. So if it wasn't for that second half, I thought it'd been a pretty decent race.
Before you even gave your answer, I typed mine into the sheet here, and I gave it a 4 as a whole. And that has to do with the racetrack, the type of racing that you see there, the event as a whole, everything factored into my rating of that as a 4. I didn't think that the first half racing was bad, but to me, it was still, all you were watching was cars on racetrack. It wasn't to me like, oh, we're watching some great racing here. So I still give it a 4 for that. And you'll end up with a 5 there. So be interesting to see how these ratings end up stacking up through the years. I'm going to look. Did we rate the Clash last year? Let me see. I don't see it on here. Yeah, our first rate. Oh, hang on. I've got this. I think this is filtered. Yeah, it's filtered by rating.
I think you messed with it last year.
Yeah.
Or something. Last time we looked at what we had going. So
Bowman Gray. We didn't make picks or have a rating for it, anyways. But so a 4 and a 5. I definitely think last year's was better, but anyways,
yeah, definitely.
That's pretty much all that I've got for Bowman Gray. What about you?
Yeah, for Bowman Gray, yeah, that's about it.
We're going to end up doing a preview show where we kind of break down our expectations for the season for each team, drivers that we think will get more or less wins than we did last year and all that. We're going to try to have that for you on Tuesday of next week before we get into Daytona 500 qualifying, the duels, and all that. And then we'll be back the following Monday to recap all of the Daytona 500 action. So until then, we'll see you guys.